Today should be a fun one. Let's talk about ice cream and the woman who was erased from your freezer. Every single person who I would say would probably be older than at least 5 days has eaten ice cream at some point in their life. Anyways, ice cream's been around since people figured out that caves are colder than outside temperature. But I digress. We probably will go back to the fact that not very many people think about it, and that's fair. You're probably too busy eating ice cream. Did you know that Americans eat 23 gallons of ice cream a year per person? 23 gallons. We've got a type 2 diabetes rate climbing higher every single year, and our answer as a country was yeah, but what if there was more of it? We've invented ice cream trucks that play happy music so children can hear tooth decay coming from 3 blocks away, because we all fucking love ice cream. All of us. The U.S. Navy had floating fucking ice cream barges during World War II. We built an actual ice cream barge because sailors in the middle of a war in the Pacific were complaining about the ice cream. On to the story. Wilmington, Delaware, early 1800s. There's a black woman named Betty Jackson running a tea room on French Street selling cakes and dessert to Wilmington's wealthy elite. Her son, Jeremiah Shadd, is a local butcher, and he's pretty well known and well respected. Jeremiah's wife, known to everybody in town as Aunt Sallie Shadd, is about to become a legend to an entire community, then like it goes, erased from the story completely. So here's where it gets heavy, so hang with me. Sallie Shadd was enslaved. Local legend, the story passed down throughout Wilmington's community for generations, says Jeremiah, her husband, purchased her freedom himself. So, yeah, sit with that for a second because I'm not going to dress it up. A working class black butcher in early 1800s Delaware, saving and scraping enough of his cash together to buy his own fucking wife's freedom from a system specifically built to make sure that type of shit never happened. Now, I don't have the actual bill of sale sitting somewhere in an archive that I could throw up here on the screen somewhere to prove it actually happened, but I will tell you this, there's an entire community that remembered it that way for 200 years. Sometimes that's kind of its own evidence. She didn't quite disappear into quiet domestic life after all of that. She goes straight into the family catering business. Legend has it that she starts getting really damn good with her own recipes, including something she's making with some frozen cream, some sugar, and some strawberries. In an era before refrigeration exists, how you keep anything cold is, blocks of ice cut out of a frozen river, throw it in an ice house, and then once it gets warm out, you got ice. And Sallie Shadd was apparently out here handcrafting something that will eventually define an entire category of American dessert. So word about Sallie's ice cream spreads, and according to the story, it doesn't just spread throughout Wilmington, it reaches the ears of the actual sitting First Lady of the United States, Miss Dolley Madison. John Madison, yeah. Great founding daddy, horrible president. Anyways, Dolley Madison hears about a black woman in Delaware making frozen desserts good enough to talk about, and so she does something you wouldn't really expect a First Lady to casually do in 1813. She travels to Wilmington to try it herself. She goes, which is kind of cool. I mean, the president's wife road trip to Delaware for a dessert, and there's respect in that. I've drove to Maria's A Taste of Italy in Michigan, like a 6-hour trip just for pizza, so I get it. Of course, I'm not the First Lady, but according to legend, she loves it enough to get a version of it served at James Madison's second inaugural presidential ball in 1813. By all accounts, everybody's calling it strawberry bomb flambe. Other accounts just call it pink dome of ice cream, which honestly sounds like something you'd see on the menu today in a restaurant that's trying too hard. Either way, ice cream becomes a fixture at White House functions from that point forward. And here's the part that should piss you off. I know it pissed me off. Legend or not, Sallie Shadd's name doesn't go down in history attached to any of this. But you know who does? Dolley Madison's. For generations, companies literally sold Dolley Madison ice cream, slapping the First Lady's imaging silhouette on the packaging. And soda fountain signs building a whole brand identity off a dessert story that, by the community's own telling, started with a black woman most people have never even heard of. Sally doesn't even get a gas station named after her. Dolley Madison, still selling Dolley Madison branded zebra cakes at Walmart. And right now, Sallie Shadd doesn't have so much as a Wikipedia info box picture. Now, because I don't do fairy tales here, that's going to be another channel coming soon. I'm going to be straight with you about what's actually nailed down versus what is community legend. So Sallie Shadd was a real person. That part is not in dispute whatsoever. That's confirmed independently by food historians and not just some recycled garbage coming off of a blog. She was genuinely active in the ice cream trade in Wilmington during the 1810s and 1820s. But the specific claim that she personally invented strawberry ice cream and that Dolley Madison's visit happened exactly how it went down, it's considered by historians who actually dug through all of the archives. So it sits in that gap that doesn't really make it worthless. It makes it exactly the kind of story this channel exists for. A real woman, really enslaved, really freed by her husband by saving up all of his money, and according to the people who knew her, was really building a reputation good enough that the legend has her reaching the White House, and then really erased it while the First Lady's face got put on whatever instead. Whether every single detail holds up exactly as it's been told, the pattern underneath it is one of the oldest and truest patterns, unfortunately, in American history. Black innovation, quietly credited to somebody white, somebody powerful, somebody whose name is safer to sell. So the next time you're sitting around absolutely inhaling a bowl of strawberry ice cream at 11 o'clock at night, there's no judgment in that. You can thank the ice cream gods if you want, or you can thank the name that actually belongs to that story, Aunt Sallie Shadd. And she's really not in the book.